Welcome to Bald Business, the naked truth in entrepreneurship. Let's begin.
Hello and welcome back to Bald Business. I'm your host, Michael Budenseek. You can find me LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Michael B. Life. Today we're talking about networking. So networking is the forgotten rule of success and how we can use that in our business or in our life to create more success, to reach our goals. And networking is basically this exchange of information or ideas among people, right? It's usually pretty informal, but you have to get in front of more people because the more people that you know, the more people that know you. Now, early on, a mentor told me, he said, you need to get in front of more people. However you can, whatever it takes, you need to get in front of more people regularly. Now, I don't get embarrassed or uncomfortable around people very easily, so my first thought was, okay, I'll start networking. And there's obviously lots of different types of networking opportunities, small groups that meet weekly with very rigid routines and schedules. Some of those groups meet monthly. Some are completely invite only. Some are open to anyone. Some are big open events where you just walk around and talk to anybody with no real specific focus or no really specific focus on you and your business. And then, obviously, there's networking opportunities that are also virtual, especially right now with all the COVID stuff going on. I actually jumped into a networking opportunity the other day, and there were like 75 people on this call that I had never seen or met before. So it was actually really cool. And when I first thought, I'm going to start networking, I told a couple people, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need to do. Mentor told me, to get out, get busy, start meeting people. So I ended up getting some invites to small roundtables, private networking events, things like that. And if you've been to one, you know what it's like. You listen to everyone give a 45 to 60 second pitch about their business, and then you also get to give the same pitch about yours. And so you go around the table and you listen to everybody, and then after that, you see how you can help out your fellow members or guests with referrals or ideas, suggestions, things like that. And I remember one of the very first networking roundtables that I ever went to. I went as a guest, obviously, and as a guest, you go last, which makes complete sense because this way you can see how everyone else is doing it, and you can just kind of follow suit. At this point, I had been working with my mentor pretty regularly, so we'd already kind of put together my little 45 to 60 second clip, and I was, I knew everything that I needed to say. And so I'm watching and listening as people go around the room and, one by one, I think there was about 30, 35 people there. One by one, people were saying about their business, what they did, who they were, and then they call on me. Now, up to this point, I was feeling confident. I was ready. I was like, yeah, this is perfect. Nope, this is exactly what my mentor said it would be like. I've got my little thing down. I know what to say. And they said, all right, Michael, yada, yada. So I stood up and then blah, 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 blah. And it was over. And I was like, what did I just say? Was it even what I had been rehearsing? Like, did any of it make sense? Basically, I had taken the nice elevator pitch that I had written and that I had practiced, and I mashed it into this big mess of words that meant the same thing in some weird way. But I was thinking, I have some serious learning to do when it comes to networking. Now, obviously, at this point, I have two choices, right? I never go back again and have to deal with that because apparently I really suck at it, or I can sign up and I can get better and, actually make this thing work. So I forced myself to sign up and I started attending every single week. They say practice makes perfect. Well, I don't really believe in perfection necessarily, but it does make you way, way, way better every single time. So just because you get good at one type of networking doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to be a master at all networking, right? Each of them is different and each of them takes repetition to get better. but you've got to continue getting in front of more people, because the more people you know, the more people know you. Now, networking is pretty much one of the best ways to get to know people on a personal level. It's all about relationships. Obviously, the more relationships that you build, the better off your business or your success in life, whatever it is that you are chasing, your goal, the better off that will be, the more opportunity that you will have. Now, when it comes to my favorite type of networking, this type of networking is actually a lot of people's most disliked networking. And it's just called open networking, basically, where you show up to an event, walk around, meet people, and talk to people that you want to talk to, that you want to get to know, that you want to visit with. And many times, people who go for the very first time hate it because they don't know what to do. They don't know who to talk to. They don't know where to stand. Like, the list just kind of goes on, and it's awkward, right? And for years, for a couple years, I helped out at my local chamber with events like this, and I was basically asked, hey, you need to watch for people, like I just described, basically wallflowers, and you need to help them get integrated. And you know what's super interesting? Something that I learned with this experience. So think about this, right? If you're nervous about getting out and networking and putting yourself out there, I really just hope that this thought or this understanding of networking encourages you, because what I found is that there were people, and this was not just like a one-time deal, right? This didn't happen just one time and, it was just a fluke. It just happened to happen. It happened several times that I can remember, but there are people who were way more successful in their business than I had even begun to think about being. And they were the ones that were hesitant about walking out, shaking hands, meeting people. So don't think, oh, I'm a nobody. I can't start networking yet because I haven't created anything. I don't have anything to offer. I don't have any good conversations to offer or good connections to offer. Like, no. That's completely backwards thinking. You need to get out there now and start building your network immediately, because the more people you know, the more people who know you. And then opportunities arise. One of the biggest things that has stuck with me when it comes to the power of networking is, like, I got pretty comfortable networking and meeting new people. I had created, you could call, basically a process for connecting with people and meeting people at every open event that I could get to. Many times I could, break my own rules, though, and I would forget people's names or where they worked or what they did for a living or why they were there networking, right? Maybe they were just there trying to make more connections in life. But one thing that I would do always is, when I got someone's contact information, I'd always add them to my email list, because I would always send them an email and say, hey, it was nice to meet you. I would really like to send you my weekly emails that have tips, hints, and motivation for the week. If you would like to subscribe, most people, gladly said yes. Then one evening I was at an event, and I had probably talked to 15 or 20 people, just because when you start going so often, you see a lot of the same faces, and you always want to at least try to say hi to those people. This guy comes up to me and he says, hey, Michael, how are you? And he sticks out his hand to shake mine, and I just kind of freeze. And I know his face, I recognize his face, but that's it, like nothing else. I'm drawing a complete blank. I'm searching my brain. I'm looking, and nothing. So I said, hey, man, it's great to see you. I'm really sorry, but I'm not recalling your name. And he said, oh, no big deal. He said, my name's Dan. He said, you probably wouldn't remember me anyways, because we met at an event over a year ago, and I haven't really been out since. But I just wanted to say thank you. And I'm thinking, thanks for what? And he says, I read your emails every single week, and you've helped me with my fitness so much and my overall motivation to just keep going that I've shared them with my entire family. Now, obviously, I thanked him and I offered any additional help that he might need, but that's all it takes. Like, the more people you know, the more people who are going to know you. He had shared this with his entire family. And you never, that never would happen right? If I wouldn't have gone to the event, if I wouldn't have taken his card, if I wouldn't have sent the email. And, if I wouldn't have put myself out there, I never would have met this man. I never would have been able to impact him in such a positive way. Now, obviously, there's follow-up and everything else, that I did that goes along with that. But you have to start somewhere. And this is where you start. You start networking. Getting in front of more people is so important, not just for your business, but honestly for your life. Because the more people you know, the more people that are going to know you, the more positive things that are going to come out of it. Maybe the tables are turned, and by going to an event, you're the one who's going to get motivation. You're the one who's going to get help, get guidance on what you need to reach your goals. Now, a lot of times I encourage people all the time. I say, hey, go out and network, go out and meet people, go out and make connections. And I hear a lot of the same things over and over, right? Well, I don't know how, and it makes me feel awkward and uncomfortable, and I'm just not ready. I have nothing to offer. What if you just went to start gaining some experience? Like maybe the opportunity you need or want is at the next event or the next group roundtable. Like you will feel awkward no matter what. Trust me, that first time, I thought it was going to be just fine. And it ended up being one of the most awkward things I'd ever done because my brain just kind of froze in the moment, right? But here's the beauty in it. Every single person is there for the same reason, to network. You are on a level playing field. You just have to put yourself out there. Maybe you're thinking, okay, I'm going to try it. But what do I need to do? Where should I start? Here's a couple tips for you. I have 5 tips for networking the most effectively. Number 1, remember that everyone is there to do the same thing. And that's network. Like, yes, I just said that, but this is what I want you to think about. They want to meet you. They want to know what you do. They might need your help, or you might be able to use theirs. Or best case scenario, you can help each other. Maybe both of you need each other's services or products. I have done barters many times over the years. A couple of my favorites were we traded our first entire website build, domain, hosting, all of it, email, for a 90-day transformation. So both people won. We got a website, we got listed high on Google, and this guy changed his life. He lost weight, built strength, built muscle, built self-confidence, loved the way he was looking and feeling. It worked out for everybody. And then another one of my favorites is I love chiropractors. Well, I guess like any profession, you got to find the right one. But I traded straight up visit for visit with a chiropractor when I was having some alignment issues with my back, and it was awesome. So you just have to remember, like, everybody is there to network. Everybody's there doing the same thing, okay? Number 2, prepare and practice your 30 to 60 second elevator pitch. Now, this is basically what you do in a short sentence, as simple as possible. Maybe you've heard the idea, explain to me what you do as if I'm a 5th grader. The more simple that you can share your idea, your product, your service, the easier it's going to be for you to network. Because just like the story above, you're not going to get it 100% right the first few times. But just because you don't maybe get it perfect doesn't mean you don't prepare and practice, right? Athletes practice a ton before games. They still miss shots. They still drop balls. They still strike out. Prepare and practice your 30 to 60 second elevator pitch. Number 3, introduce yourself and ask about their business first. Show interest to get interest. Here's something that you probably don't realize. Most people don't know how to network correctly. A lot of times at these open events, people are there because there's food and alcohol, which is fine. Like, obviously it draws a crowd, right? Gets people there. But if you become really good at guiding the conversations by asking questions first, they're more likely to then just kind of fall in line and ask you. But there's one major rule you have to think about. If they don't ask, don't tell. If you ask about their business, you ask about their life, you ask if they have kids, and then it's just crickets on the other end, and they don't reciprocate those questions, they don't really seem interested in getting to know about your business or you, like, that's okay. Just ask them for a business card before you part ways. Don't force your information on them. Moving into number 4, always get contact information. Name, number, email. At a minimum, name and email. Hopefully, they just have a business card that you can have because that's the easiest way, or even a digital business card that they can just send to your phone. Don't just go for the contact info here. Okay, there are people there. You don't want to be that guy or girl walking around saying, "Hey, I'm Cindy. Do you have a business card I can have?" It's basically like being a walking, talking spam or junk email. Right? And if you've been to an event, you know those types of people. If you're that type of person, stop doing that. You only ask for their business card or contact information after you've talked to them and asked them about their business and started building that basic rapport. Networking is a long game. So, you're going to go to one event and you might end up with one person, you might end up with a handful of people, but you're not going to just go to your first event and end up with 50 contacts. If you end up talking to 2 people, the quality of those 2 relationships is what matters. Okay? Quality over quantity here. It's a long game. And then number 5, always follow up. I've worked with and talked to so many people who finally make it happen, right? They go to the event, they go to the round table, they overcome their fear, they put themselves out there, they meet people, they collect contact information, and then nothing. That's it. The point of networking is to build relationships so that you can refer people and have people referred to you by those that you meet and leave an impression with, but you have to follow up. Now, I failed to follow up many times, especially early on in my networking days, but the follow-up is the most important piece. This does not have to be aggressive or salesy or anything even close to that. It simply sounds like this. Hey, John, it's Michael. We met last night at the round table. I liked learning about your lawn company specializing in X. Please let me know if there's anything that I can ever do for you. I look forward to seeing you at the next event. Like, it could simply be that, or you could even add things like, I would love to get some coffee sometime to talk more. I have over 150 clients who are all homeowners who could probably benefit from your services. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as in-depth or not in-depth as you want it to be. But usually, we make it complicated because we overthink it. Ivan Misner said this: networking is more about farming than it is hunting. You're not hunting for that next client for immediate gratification. You are farming relationships that will get you in front of more and more people, which will lead you to an abundant amount of clients for you and your team. So get out there, get in front of more people, because the more people you know, the more people that know you. Thanks for joining me today on episode 9 of Networking, the forgotten rule of success and how to use it. I'm your host, Michael Budenseek. Find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Michael B. Life. If you need anything, if you would like me to send you these 5 tips or these 5 rules outlined in a printable document, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to send it over. Otherwise, get out there, meet people, build your network, and have a successful week.